Hello everyone, this is Daniel from FitnessBlender.com, and today we're going to be doing an upper body burnout round. So this routine is about 12 minutes long and it's designed to be added on to another routine just to get a little extra burn out of that upper body. Predominantly focusing on chest and upper back. This doesn't have a warm up or cool down, so it can kind of be inserted into another routine however you want to. With that said, you can also do this as a standalone routine. You're just going to want to make sure you add in a warm up and a cool down on your own. With that said, make sure you grab some dumbbells and an exercise mat, and let's get started. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to be doing each one of these exercises for 45 seconds on with a 15-second break. We've got 6 different exercises to go through. So let me get my timer started. We are starting off with a push-up. So this is just going to be a traditional regular push-up. If you are already tired, feel free to do this at an incline off of a bench or a couch. Otherwise, try to get as close to a full push-up as you can. We're doing this for 45 seconds, like I said, so if you're already tired, you might not make it all the way through that full 45 seconds, and that is perfectly fine. Remember, this is a burnout, so we're trying to get those muscles to give out. Make sure your form is as clean as possible, straight line from shoulder down to ankle if you're doing a full version, or shoulder down to knee if you're doing a half version. But just stay at the hardest version you can for as long as you can. We're almost done. And let that relax. Grab those dumbbells. We are going to be doing a bent over wide row, so almost exact same motion. A second, keep your lungs open, deep breath. You can bend straight over at the hips, flat back, arms come up and out to the side. So you want those elbows straight across from one another as opposed to kind of pulling back to your side. You want them straight out from that shoulder socket. So pull them up and out. Again, keep that back nice and flat. Slow, controlled movements. Again, trying to burn yourself out here. So pick a weight that is appropriate to make sure that those muscles give out towards the end of that 45 seconds. Remember, we're doing 2 sets of these. We're going to be doing one more of each of these before we move to 2 different exercises. And let that relax. Going back to that push-up. So back down on the ground. Again, pick whichever version you want to. It's going to be difficult for you to finish. If you can, do that full version. Arms out wide. Elbows going straight out to your sides. Try not to tuck them back towards your rib cage. That hand should be pretty much directly underneath that shoulder, just a little bit wider than shoulder width. Remember, if you need to, you can drop down onto that half version. So straight line from shoulder down to knee. Pull those feet up towards your butt a little bit to get that kneecap out of the way. It's going to be a lot more comfortable on that knee. And let that relax. Going back to that row. Grab those dumbbells again. Change that weight if you need to. Remember, looking to try to burn out towards that last of the 45 seconds. Bent over at that waist, or excuse me, at those hips. Back nice and flat, pulling those arms up and out to the side. Nice and wide. Lungs open. Feel like you're arching that back, trying to kind of tilt that chest towards the wall in front of you to make sure you're keeping that back flat. Tight squeeze the top of that range of motion. It's about 5 seconds left. Let that relax. All right, we're moving on to a new exercise. This one is going to be a wide push-up. This is going to be rough. So very similar to the push-up we were just doing, but you're gonna push those hands out as wide as you can control, as wide as is comfortable. You might need to also turn your palms facing out slightly. So down and up, just like a traditional push-up. Straight line from shoulder to ankle, just like a traditional push-up. Put those hands out as wide as you can, so really far outside of shoulder width. Again, feel free to switch to a half version. If those muscles are starting to give out, you're trying to get through this whole 45 seconds with at least some kind of push-up. Just make sure you're keeping that form nice and clean. And let it relax. All right, go into our reverse fly here. I'm actually gonna drop weight really nice and low. Make sure I can get a full range of motion out of this. See how this first set feels. Again, flat back. Arms straight down in front of your chest. Arms come up and out to the sides. Back underneath that shoulder joint and back out. You're trying to get that hand up as close to chest height as you can. If you can actually get it past the height of that chest, that is the ultimate goal. So nice full range of motion, feeling like you're pinching those shoulder blades together behind your back. Keep those lungs open, nice slow controlled movement. Like I said, looking to just try to burn those muscles out. So be thinking about this weight that you're using and if you need to increase for that next set. All right, let it relax. Back to our wide push-up, so down on the ground. Again, just like a traditional push-up, but get those hands out there as wide as you can. Nice and slow down, and slow back up. Keep those lungs open, no holding your breath. Again, drop on those knees if you want a little easier version, or you can always do it off of a bench or a couch for a little bit of incline, or even off of a wall if those chest muscles are really giving out on you. Let that relax. All right, going back for that reverse fly. This is our second round of a reverse fly. I'm gonna try a little more weight. We'll see how far I get through with this. It's probably a bad idea, but I'm gonna give it a shot. All right, flat back, up and out to the side, slowly down. Try to keep that pace nice and even. No using momentum to get into the position you're trying to. Should be a smooth, even pace through that entire range of motion. So you're making sure that entire range gets the same amount of effort, the same amount of challenge. Flat back, lungs open. Kind of arching that back so your chest is tilted towards the wall in front of you. Relax. All right, moving on to the next two. Also, our last two, we've got a narrow push-up next, also known as a tricep push-up. So, hands are gonna be directly underneath that shoulder. Out in that full push-up position if you can. Elbows tuck directly next to your rib cage and down. As you get tired, you're gonna feel yourself kind of doing one of these motions. Try to keep that back as solid as you can. You can see I'm starting to give out a little bit here. So drop on those knees if you need to. Keeping everything nice and solid. Lungs open. If you want to get your breathing into it, it's going to be inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. Make sure you're pulling those shoulders down on your back as well. All right, let that relax. Onto a bent over close row. I'm going to up my weight just a little bit. bent over at those hips again, flat back. Palms facing in towards one another. You're gonna pull those elbows up and back to your sides and straight down. So we're trying to mimic, if you haven't noticed already, mimic the movement with that push-up as with our row motion. So keeping this one nice and close. Try to let that dumbbell just hang directly underneath that elbow, feeling like you're pulling from your elbow, not from your hand. So you're not doing this where you're pulling your hand up to your shoulder. You're pulling your elbow back behind your body, and your hand should be staying underneath your elbow. One more in there. All right, back down on the ground. We just have one more of each of these, doing that narrow push-up again. Again, if those muscles are starting to get too tired to do this form clean, just go to an easier and easier version. All right, let's see if I can get any full versions out here. Remember, keep those shoulder blades pulled down on your back. Switch to that easier version if you need to. If you're already doing a half push-up and this is still too hard, then do this movement off of a bench. You can have something up high like this, and that'll give you just a little bit less effort. And let it relax. All right, one more of the bent over close row and then we are done. Grab that dumbbell, bend at those hips, flat back. Draw them in nice and close. Just to keep your knees out of the way of this, you might need to bring those knees in or those feet together really nice and close. So this depends on how your body's built and how much room you have, how much of a bend you have in those knees as well. Flat back, still tipping that chest kind of up towards you, towards the wall in front of you. Lungs open. Remember, tight squeeze, pulling from that elbow. And let it relax. All right. That is the end of this burnout round. If you want to go back and start your cool down of your original routine or whatever you're starting with. Otherwise, if you're doing this just as a standalone, of course, get that stretch routine in, that stretch cool down in, and then you're done. With that said, this workout is complete. Thanks, guys. See you next time.